Alex Moore on behalf of That Nerd Show, and we are continuing on with our interviews for the Oak Cliff Film Festival here in 2016. And I'm happy to have me here to talk about a film, Door on the Left, and joined by director Kati Skelton, editor Daniel Johnson, and actress Dana Kaplan-Angle. So, I have to say, this sounded like a really interesting story to me. It sounded like something that would be sort of like from the Twilight Zone almost, or Outer Limits, or something kind of crazy and creepy like that. So, give me the idea of what the story is, just the synopsis, what we're dealing with here on the Door on the Left.
Yeah. Door on the Left is, it takes place on a purgatorial game show where 5 women are trapped as contestants, and there's just only one way out, and that happens to be through the door on the left. kind of mysterious, yes. But yeah, it's like a short horror comedy basically. Yeah.
All right, so tell me quickly, Dana, what was your role in this film? You're one of the 5 women, and without giving away who survives and so forth, is there sort of a feeling of emotion that you're trying to work into this story to kind of create the right atmosphere for the story around you, or atmosphere?
Yeah, I mean, I would say we were all sort of somewhat 5-piece in a pod, really gung-ho to be on a game show, and then things kind of take a turn, and I feel like we each suffer our own disappointments, perhaps, along the way. But as the actors, we all know each other quite well, so that made it really fun to act together because Kati really wrote the roles for us and did a great job of picking up on parts of our personalities and blowing them out.
Now, speaking of that, was there anything that you kind of threw in there, like you didn't tell them was in the script because you knew it might mess with Dana or it might mess with somebody else, just for the fun of it? Or
like, I would say that I wasn't like trying to mess with them specifically, but I think that's an interesting point that, like, basically each of our fates has a lot to do with our own personalities as humans and the characters that we're playing in this movie. So for one of the characters, she's a friend of ours who, she's very much like guided by emotion. She's often not really paying attention to what's going on around her. Makes very bold and confident choices, often, to her own peril. But that really, that's sort of the way that her arc is played out in the movie. Yeah.
Okay, so just from the editing standpoint, was there a lot of material good material that you had to work with to cut down for pacing, or maybe a scenes like, we may need to do something with this, like, no, I don't want to do that? Is that kind of discussion going on at all?
I mean, definitely everyone in it is really, really good. It's like, that's what you want going into edit something, is to have a kind of like embarrassment of riches where everyone's performances are so good that you can whittle it down to just like the best of the best. It's definitely the case for everybody. We did spend a long time making this decision through editing it for like a year, over a year.
Yeah, we definitely edited it for over a year.
Probably 2 more.
Okay. Have you all worked together before?
Not
first time for you two?
Not before Door on the Left.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But lots since.
Lots since.
All right, so not to give away too much again, but just get an idea more about the story. Is it one of those situations where it's kind of obvious thing to do? I mean, but it's sort of dealing with making moral decisions and that kind of thing, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are like a lot of ways you can read the movie. Basically without giving too much away. We all sort of end up making the same wrong decision over and over and over again.
It means we're all insane, right?
to basically act in opposition to like all evidence pointing in the right direction. I feel like it's a pretty relatable tale. Yeah.
All right. So there's one question that we're asking everybody for these interviews, because we are That Nerd Show, so there's lots to be a little bit nerdy here. Like to do. This is a big year for Star Trek and Star Wars, so we're asking everybody, if you could pick a movie to be a part of, which would it be, Star Trek or Star Wars, and why?
I personally would pick Star Trek because I up watching the TV show and really identified with, or maybe not identified, but admired the female characters in the TV show. So, you know, if I could be the psychiatrist or the doctor, I think we're the two females in the next generation. Sure.
For me, I guess I would have to say, having seen like very little of either one, you know, I'm terrified of space. Like, let's put it that way. So like, I would choose Star Wars because like I know that there's like definitely a lot of stuff going on in the desert. I really like the desert, and I would prefer to stay in the desert versus travel to space.
I think I'm definitely more of a Star Wars fan than Star Trek fan, but if I had to live in one of those, if I had like live in one of those worlds, the world of Star Trek is definitely way more like peaceful, you know, and kind of like the society seems like it's advanced to a much more like harmonious state. Whereas in Star Wars, it's like, I mean, it's right in the title. You know, literally the stars are at war.